Guys, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and the Washington Commanders got some great injury news before this Bucs playoff game that we're about to get into tomorrow, and the team is hype. I'm going to show y'all some clips from practice today. They seem very optimistic going into this game. We're going to talk about potentially why. Also, Marshon Lore is sending some shots at Mike Evans. He's ready for all the smoke. We're going to dive into his exact quotes and everything. Also, the Washington Commanders killed it with the all-pro selections this year. You'll probably be surprised by how many we had and who they are and everything, man. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And before we get into everything, first of all, I have an upcoming Santana Moss fact that I'm going to give you at the end of the video. If it's trivia, I'll give you the question in the beginning, the answer at the end of the video. Since it's a fact, I'm letting you know it's a Santana Moss one, and we'll save it for the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And of course, this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And before we get into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Y'all already know, man. Pull up for the live stream, the live play-by-play analysis of this upcoming Buccaneers playoff game. It's revenge time, man. Let's get it. They beat us week 1 while we were lacking. We were hurt. We were inexperienced. It was a completely new team. We had the most roster turnover. Let's see how this rematch goes, man. So make sure you pull up for that live stream. We'll have a victory call-in show live stream afterwards if we win as well. So make sure you stay tuned and pull up for all of that. And without further ado, let's go and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so first of all, yesterday, January 10th, as in Friday, we originally got a tweet and an announcement from some reporters from the Commanders side, like at 11-something a.m. According to the team, Commanders cornerback Marshon Lore will not practice today, again, as in yesterday, January 10th, for non-injury related reasons. And it was a planned vet rest date anyway. He's still, coming off of a hamstring injury, which is why he missed like the first 5 or 6 games after we traded for him. He played like 1.5 games after that, and then he's missed the last 2 as well. It was the hamstring injury, but he's been practicing in full so far this week. But that of course, there was no reason to really panic over the fact that he was having a vet day and he had the day off from some non-football reasons and things like that. And then soon after that, like less than an hour later, they went ahead and officially announced through Dan Quinn himself that Marshon Lore will play and start versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, again, I wasn't worried about the original report, but after that, it was like, yeah, let's go. It's official. Dan Quinn, our head coach, has already officially announced that Marshon Lore will be locking up Mike Evans on Sunday Night Football. We're going to dive into that a little bit later when Marshon Lore talks about what he plans on doing to Mike Evans. Also, on top of the fact that we will have Marshon Lore back for Sunday, Dan Quinn said, quote, he hit all the markers we need to see, so we're pumped to have him back, unquote. And I am as well, and I know y'all are too, man, because if there's anybody that has any chance on this roster to potentially not only just take Mike Evans out the game, just like football-wise, but also get into his head. Remember, I've already given y'all the statistics in another video earlier this week, but this guy has caused Mike Evans over $100,000 worth of fines and has had him suspended for 1 game 2 different times. This guy can get into Mike Evans' head like nobody else really in the history that Mike Evans has ever gone against as far as corners go. Marshon Lore is literally his nemesis, and based off of the stats that I also gave you to where Mike Evans has like career lows in every possible stat when going against Marshon Lore, it's not even really like a nemesis type of thing. It's more so Marshon Lore just pulls up and shuts him down. It's not really like a back and forth fight where, maybe Mike Evans wins sometimes, Marshon Lore wins. So no, usually, like the majority of the time, Marshon Lore is winning that matchup. Not only erasing them from the game on the field wise, like X's and O's and talent, but also taking them out of the game mentally and getting them so distracted that he's over there committing unnecessary and personal fouls on Marshon Lore and getting themselves suspended and everything. So, hey, man, I'm really excited to have Marshon Lore. We need him big time because even though Mike Sanford is a completely different corner from the last last time we played the Buccaneers. Hey, man, none of our guys were ready to handle Mike Evans the last time we played them. I know Benjamin St. Juste wasn't. Emmanuel Forbes, remember, that first game we played the Buccaneers, another reason that, another pure example of how we're a completely different team from then. Emmanuel Forbes played 30-something snaps against the Buccaneers last time we played them. This is a completely different team. So I'm really excited to get this revenge, man. And the injury report-wise, as you can see on the screen, when you're looking at the Commanders side, the only out is Kosin Yankov, the tight end that we just opened his 21-day practice window. So, if we beat the Buccaneers and we continue to win in the playoffs, we make it to the divisional round, maybe even an NFC conference championship, maybe he'll be available by then, but he will not be available for this upcoming game against the Buccaneers tomorrow, as in Sunday night on January 12th. He's practiced in full, but I'm not surprised that they're not going to go ahead and throw him out there immediately, because even if he is fully healthy, this guy was still very raw. He's an undrafted free agent that was a tight end fullback hybrid type of guy. So Cliff Kingsbury, with him being hurt for so long, probably doesn't even exactly know how to utilize him to the best of his abilities. So this could even be a Cliff Kingsbury thing, let alone Kosin Yankov, how raw he is just as a player, with him being an unrestricted free agent and missing the majority of the season. So, he just doesn't seem very playable right now on his end, and even in Cliff Kingsbury's end, for finding a way to utilize him to the best of his abilities. And then you also have Jamison Crowder, who is questionable, but everybody else, as you can see, is perfectly good to go. Jamison Crowder is the lone active player that's even on the injury report. Everybody else is good to go. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, we're going to look at them soon, has 5 questionable players and 1 definitive out. They're looking far less healthy than we are. And then even John Bates, though, just to go ahead and let you know, he was full as far as participation goes on Wednesday. Then he was limited Thursday and Friday. They took him off of the practice report. Sounds like he should be 100% ready to go, but dealing with the shoulder injury, he was wearing a black non-contact jersey at practice yesterday, as in Friday, January 10th. But it seems like he should be good to go again, just based off of the fact that they took him off the injury report. And then real quick, before we dive into how excited this team is, taking a look at the Buccaneers injury report side of everything, you have cornerback Troy Hill. He's still out. He's returning from his 21-day practice window like Kosin Yankov, but he's not yet ready to play. You got to get back in football shape, man. Even if you're healthy, human-wise, you can go out and maybe go on a jog. You can, go out to eat, go shopping or whatever, typical regular human activities. That doesn't necessarily mean you're in football, NFL level shape. So that's a whole different ball game. You may be healthy, but are you in football shape, ready to take on some bigger hits, some serious contact? Football is literally essentially a series of car crashes, basically. So, man, I understand why Kosin Yankov and Troy Hill may not necessarily be available immediately. And then, on top of all of that, their secondary is cooked, man. Between Antoine Winfield, Mike Edwards, and Jamel Dean all being questionable, and a lot of them only participating in practice in a limited manner. It's looking pretty ugly for those guys, because even though I'm assuming that most of those guys will play, pretty much everybody I just named besides Troy Hill will more than likely play, they're going to be banged up while doing so. And dealing with having a banged up secondary and a defensive line that doesn't necessarily rush the passer very well either, and you have to deal with Jaden Daniels, I don't know, man. Buccaneers, it's not looking too great for you. We'll see, though. We still got to suit up and go out there, but on paper, I don't know, these injuries. And then on top of that, defensive lineman Logan Hall dealing with a groin injury, didn't participate in practice on Wednesday and was limited Thursday and Friday. He's questionable. Even if he does play, he's also banged up. And then everybody else seems to be good to go, most notably guys like Mike Evans and Levante David, even Bucky Irvin and Jalen McMillan, and my Georgia dog Tyke Smith. All of those guys seem like they're fully ready to go, but they are not as healthy as we are, because most importantly, this is arguably the healthiest Commanders team we've had since this entire season started. Remember, we didn't trade for Marshon Lore until late November, and then even after that, he didn't play until 5-6 games after that he was finally available. So we didn't even have Marshon Lore first time we played them. We had a lot of injuries to the offensive line. It seems like our offensive line is finally fully loaded. Every starter is ready to go. We have, I think this is the first game that we would have had Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, Marshon Lattimore all on the field at the same time. For the first time this entire season, I believe, at this point. So this is going to be a fully loaded Commanders team, and it seems like these guys know it, because as you can see on the screen right now, And these are clips that you're seeing from yesterday's practice, and it looks like these guys are pumped up, like really excited and optimistic about this upcoming playoff game against the Buccaneers, man. I mean, you could definitely tell that there's something in the air, and I feel like them being very healthy definitely has something to do with this. I mean, it could do it to you when you have like full faith, like, man, I got my dog here, we got this demon here, we're fully loaded, man, we're ready to form Voltron finally type of thing. I feel like that's more than likely the reason that they're excited. I mean, of course, also when you're playing with house money, I mean, we were not supposed to be here. I feel like they're gonna also be pretty loose. I feel like there's not much pressure on us. Go out there and do everything that you can. You win, great, you know, all of that type of stuff. I mean, again, but I think the main thing is that we finally are fully loaded with a team with all of our impactful players finally being available all at the same time. Instead of just here and there, Austin Eckler for a couple of days, Marshon Lore for a game and a half and things like that. Brian Robinson seems to be finally not banged up. We have our starting center and Tyler BetUS. I mean, I feel like now that you've seen him miss a couple of games, you understand how pivotal he is to this offense being efficient and on time and on schedule. I mean, it's a huge difference just run game alone with Tyler BetUS in his center versus Michael Dieter, man. So having him back is great. And there's also got to be a feeling of like, man, we went 12-5 without a lot of our starters here and there. Imagine what we can do when everybody is together at the same time, ready to go out there and play, man. So whatever the Commanders coaches did, or however they managed this health situation, this injury situation, they did a great job of making sure that we were at our healthiest at the most important time in the season. So I'm really excited going into this. Also, Frankie Louvu and John Bates were on the injury report this week, but Dan Quinn said that they're good to go. And he basically said, quote, sometimes we protect them from themselves, unquote. So that's why you saw in the injury report Frankie Louvu, John Bates a little banged up, but they should be good to go. And Dan Quinn basically just wanted to make sure they didn't get any more hurt than they already were. Also, the Commanders did work out punter Ryan Sandburn from Texas, but I don't think there's really much to think about that. But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention that to y'all while we were talking about what happened in practice yesterday, again, as in Friday, January 10th. Now, moving on, the Washington Commanders have 4 All-Pro players this year. Come on now, man. 2 definitive Pro Bowlers and 11 alternates, which technically means like 13 Pro Bowl worthy players, and then 4 All-Pros. You have wide receiver Terry McLaurin, not surprised. Linebacker Bobby Wagner, not surprised. Linebacker Frankie Louvu, thank you, because I felt like he got snubbed in the Pro Bowl. I'm happy that they gave him his what he was due for the All-Pro. And then kick returner Austin Eckler. Man, shouts out to him, man, because I know he's missed a couple of games this year, but I've been screaming it for the past few weeks. Austin Eckler, when healthy, has been one of the best kick returners in the entire NFL, and he made second team All-Pro by the Associated Press, so that shows that, you know, people that really know football also agree, man. And so all of these guys are second team All-Pros. We don't have any first team All-Pros, but that's cool. We'll get them next year with that one. But, man, we have 4 players selected to the AP All-Pro team, which is the most that we've had since 1991. And just guess, I'm stalling right now, but take the time to guess how many you think we had that season when we were arguably the best team in NFL history. Like, I mean, a lot of people say you can compare that 1991 Redskins team to any of the greatest teams, the greatest single seasons that any team has had in NFL history. And a lot of people feel like that 1991 team was arguably the best in all of football history. Just to let you know, we had 9 All-Pros that season. I'm happy to have 4 this year, man. I mean, that's greatness in itself, so I'm really excited. And just to let you know, too, I also want to point out the fact that if you didn't notice, you know, you have Terry McLaurin. The other 3 were free agency signings that we just brought in this year. That's insane stuff. Frankie Louvu is the only one out of those 3 that's on a long-term contract. Bobby Wagner is on a 1-year deal, and Austin Eckler is on like technically a 2-year deal, but it's essentially set up as like a 1-year deal. If you want to keep him, he doesn't cost much, but you could probably go ahead and pay him more money if you want to, type of thing. But either way, my point is, one guy's Terry McLaurin, who was brought in through Jay Gruden, not Ron Rivera, and then the other 3 were free agents brought in by Adam Peters, which goes to show that 4 years of Ron Rivera really didn't have much of a positive impact on this team, other than the fact that they lost so well that we were able to get Jaden Daniels second overall. But man, Adam Peters, the impact he's had on this team in just one season alone, man. Franchise quarterback, franchise corner, and Mike Sanford still out of the draft. So many other quality draft picks there as well. Then the free agency on top of that, insane. But even just focusing on Bobby Wagner specifically, again, he was second team All-Pro along with the other 3 guys. This is his 11th straight season where he's been picked for either first team All-Pro or second team All-Pro. 11th straight season. 6 of them were first team. 5 of them were second team All-Pro. Insane stuff. The only others with 11 plus total All-Pro selections are Reggie White with 13, Jim Otto with 12, Anthony Munoz with 11, I hope I pronounced that right, Jerry Rice with 11, and Bruce Smith with 11 as well. Bobby Wagner is an elite top 6 NFL player of all time company according to that list right there. Also want to point out the fact that the 13-year linebacker finished the 2024 season his first as a member of the Washington Commanders with 132 combined tackles. That raised Wagner's career total to 1,838 and his all-time ranking from 7th to 4th in all-time tackles in NFL history. Another 10 and he passes Junior Seau for 3rd, and with 222 tackles, the ex-Seattle Seahawk and Los Angeles Ram eclipses London Fletcher, who's at 2,039, and Ray Lewis, who's at 2,059 for the all-time combined tackles record. So, hey, man, stick in there for another season or 2, Bobby Wagner. Maybe you can break those records right there as well. And also, like I've mentioned a couple of weeks ago when it officially happened, this was weeks ago, but Bobby Wagner and London Fletcher, our own very London Fletcher, who's in the booth calling the games right now, are the only 2 players in NFL history with at least 100 combined tackles in 13 consecutive seasons. That is insane stuff right there. Also, Bobby Wagner was asked which player he probably tackled the most out of his entire career, just the one singular player who he's tackled the most, and he guessed Frank Gore. Ben Standig told him 6th, then he guessed Todd Gurley, and then it was Todd Gurley. He tackled him 46 times, and that's such a Georgia dog right there. That's a Georgia great. I miss him to this day, man. I hate how injuries cut his career short, man, because Todd Gurley was on pace to be one of the best running backs of all time. But that's interesting that Bobby Wagner has actually tackled Todd Gurley more than any other running back in NFL history. That's crazy. Also, Washington had 15 second teamers from 2000 to 2003 as far as all pros. Sheriff and Reeves were the only first teamers this entire century for us. So we had 15 from 2000 to 2003. We had 4 in just 2024 alone. That's insane. And again, mind you, only 2 first teamers all century is insane. Also, Dan Quinn talking about Washington's 4 all-pro selections. He said, quote, "I'm incredibly proud of all of those guys for different reasons," unquote. And then Ben Standig even pointed out the fact that for Bobby Wagner, this is number 11, and Dan Quinn was with the linebacker since the start of his career in Seattle. And you could tell that Quinn really felt that one. I mean, Dan Quinn and Bobby Wagner do go way, way back, along with Ken Norton Jr. and those guys. So that has to be a magical moment amongst those guys, man, just alone, just from that by itself. But before we move on to the second half of this video, and you already know this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS for sure, man. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry, and I know y'all want y'all money fast because I know I do. And right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. That's YOUTUBE150. And then on top of that, they also have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, so it's really like, why not? Now let's take a look at some bets that we can get into directly through their website. Well, if you're feeling confident, if you're feeling a little confident going into this Buccaneers playoffs game, you feel like the Commanders can really run up that score. If you're taking a look at all of the wild card weekend games, who will be the highest scoring team from the entire weekend? That's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. If you believe the Commanders at plus 800 odds, which is the 6th highest odds out of any team that's playing, behind the Buffalo Bills, Ravens, the Buccaneers themselves, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Minnesota Vikings at those plus 800 odds, if you were to put down $50, you will win back $400. 100 of them guys. If you believe that the Commanders, especially with all of those injuries that I just told you that the Buccaneers secondary has right now, if you feel like we can go out there, especially with our offense, the most fully loaded, that is the healthiest has been probably all season, if you believe that that's a recipe for the Commanders to go out there and score more points than any other team all wild card weekend, you could end up turning $50 into $400. But I'm gonna always scream at y'all to please, no matter what, please make sure y'all gamble responsibly every time, man. And before we move on to the second half of this video, again, right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUBE150. Now let's get to the second half of this video, starting with Marshon Lore talking his talk. And shouts out to my boy Jamal at Let Maul Tell It, because him tweeting this is what brought this to my attention. He tweeted, LOL, Marshon said it ain't no mental games being played. He just the big dog here. And that's basically essentially the message that he's sending out to Mike Evans. Like, basically, you're small time. Like, I win our matchup so much, I'm not really even stunting you or anything like that. But on top of that, he also said, quote, just another game, just to help. Go out there and help my team. Really, I'm just trying to lock them down, unquote. Those are the exact words from Marshon Lore. And that's not just it. He also said, quote, I want to be physical. I want to be physical with anybody. You're going to know I'm here, unquote. Love that quote as well. And then one last quote. He said, quote, those are the ones I want. The best versus the best. That's what I look forward to, unquote. I love the mentality that he has going into this game. And then you even have Richard Sherman. He was on the Up and Adams show and was asked about, like, how do you feel about Marshon Lore versus Mike Evans? Do you feel like Mike Evans is going to be able to get into his head and things like that? Richard Sherman, top tier corner during his day as well, said, quote, Lattimore is going to continue to get under Mike's skin, and Mike's going to continue to feel a way about him, unquote. And basically Richard Sherman was predicting that Marshon Lattimore would do a great job of taking Mike Evans out of the game, because he's going to play mental games with him, not just physical, not just talent. He's going to get Mike Evans off of his game. He's not even going to be the typical Mike Evans that you're used to seeing week in and week out, because Marshon Lattimore knows how to get the worst out of the guy. So, hey, man, I'm really excited. And here's a small clip of Marshon Lattimore talking right here, so you can see it from him and see, like, from his body language, like how he's not worried about Mike Evans at all, and he's ready to lock him up.
Just another game, just to help my team, go out there and help my team. Really, I'm just trying to lock him down. All the other stuff, it is what it is. If it come, it come. If it don't, I'm just here to, help my team win. I mean, I want to be physical just off the simple fact of what happened, of course, but I want to be physical with anybody, but it's just an extra level of it, just because of the past and all that. But I mean, it's just really just being out there. It ain't really about the mental game. With me, it's just like, you gonna know I'm here. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I mean, I feel good. I don't have no problems right now, so I won't really know until I get out there all the way. So of course, them the ones I want. That's it. The best versus the best, and that's what I look forward to. Just going against top opponents. I don't want nobody, they gonna be like, oh, he wasn't really that good. So I want people that's known to be good, you know what I'm saying, and see how I line up against them. That's really it.
And then also, before we get up out of here, the Commanders announced their 5 playoff captains. Typically, we go into games with 3, but I guess playoffs maybe it's 5. I mean, we haven't played in the playoffs much lately, so I wouldn't know, I guess. But either way, we have Jaden Daniels, makes too much sense. Terry McLaurin, too much sense. Zach Ertz, a lot of sense as well. Bobby Wagner, too much sense. And then Jeremy Reeves, I can see it. That's interesting. That makes sense as well. Also, I want to let you know, and I want to remind y'all, because I told y'all this earlier this week, that this was voted on by the players. They voted on it like a while ago, and then they finally announced it yesterday, Friday, January 10th. Again, these 5 captains were voted on by the players themselves. I love the fact that they had the chance to vote on it this time. It's usually been Dan Quinn, and he gives people captains for going against like their former teams. Even if you're not the best player from the previous week or the best player going into the next week or anything, if you're going against a former team, he would let you be a captain for that game. For different reasons, he gave people captains. Now going into the playoffs, this is completely voted on by the players, and I'm not surprised that Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and Bobby Wagner are the captains. Like I predicted, if we would have just kept the same format of 3, those would have been my 3, but since we extended it to 5, Zach Ertz and Jeremy Reeves makes sense as well. And then on top of all of that, Doug Williams will also serve as an honorary captain throughout the entire postseason. So let's go beat the Buccaneers. Let's go see who our next opponents are. Maybe the Lions. And I like the fact that Doug Williams will also be out there as like an honorary 6th captain as well. I love that. Also, this happened all the way back on January 7th, but I feel like I should go ahead and include this now. But per the collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and the NFLPA, all 32 teams need to submit their cap space carryover amounts by 4 p.m. Eastern time that day. All the way back on January 7th. So now we can start to look forward into the offseason once we're done with our postseason, which hopefully is not for another couple of weeks. And hopefully we're not just one and done against the Buccaneers. If we can keep it going, we'll see. But once the offseason starts, I will start updating y'all on cap space. We'll start doing free agency stuff, draft stuff, mock drafts, all that type of things. But I'm saving that until we are officially in the offseason. And right now, we're not in the offseason. Hopefully, we will not be in the offseason after Sunday as well. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, and still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you still follow that like button before you go. And if you made it this far in the video, I salute you. I really appreciate you. And just to let you know, I told y'all I was going to give y'all that fun fact by the end of the video. Here it goes. With 581 catches from 2005 to 2014, wide receiver Santana Moss ranks number 3 on Washington's all-time list. Let's get it, man. I told y'all I'm giving y'all fun facts every day. Fun facts and trivia. Shouts out to my grandma for giving me this Commanders calendar, and it comes with facts and trivia for every single day. So make sure y'all stay tuned for more of those. And of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about this Commanders injury situation, how healthy we are compared to the Buccaneers as well. Does that make you more optimistic about this potential matchup against the Buccaneers and us getting a win? Also, let me know how you feel about all of the all-pro selections we got. Let me know how you feel about how Marshon Lore is looking at Mike Evans and how he's going into this game mentally. And also let me know how you feel about the captain situation that we have going on as well. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. I've been super busy lately, but I'm gonna try my best. I really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all pull up Sunday night for that live stream. And remember, this video was sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And again, if you don't do nothing else, please make sure you gamble responsibly, man, please. And I'm gonna catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.